I don't know, because I would want to say, you'll be okay, but it wasn't okay. Or you're safe, but it wasn't safe. So I really can't answer that. I was removed from my mother at 13. There was some mental health issues. There was physical abuse, sexual abuse. All of that happened to me because I was protective over my brother, but I was also very verbal and would act out. I was viewed as the problem in the home. There was an incident where my mother's third husband, he was very physically abusive to me, and we had an argument at the top of a staircase, and he threw me down the staircase, and there was a mirror at the top of the staircase, and he picked the mirror up and threw it at me. That day that I went to school, I had cuts on my face and my back. I was called into the guidance office. He asked me what happened, and then they brought in a male, and that was a DIFUS worker, and he told me I wasn't going home after I told him what happened. The first foster home that I was in, there was a lot of kids in the home. It was very chaotic because, you know, it was just basically me and my brother at my other home. But it was kind of like walking in, like, as I can imagine, like to a jail cell. Like, I can't believe this is really happening. There was an incident. They had a barbecue at the home. It was in the summertime, and one of the neighbors sexually abused me while everybody was outside, so I was removed from the home. And that started kind of a cycle where I was removed. It was about every 6 months to a year I was being moved around. I was kind of ripped out of my role as somebody's caretaker, and now I had strangers telling me what to do. You know, I honestly, I don't blame a lot of the foster parents for kind of reaching their wits' end. With my abrasive personality and everything, it was kind of, I was a hard kid to love. A lot of it had to do with, also with, I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me. Because in essence, like, my sole caregiver, my mother, kind of gave up on me. My mother did not want me to have contact with my brother because I was viewed as like a bad influence on him. Of course, when I was 18, I immediately started talking to him again. He's been in and out of my life. He's homeless, and he's has substance abuse issues now. He's every bit of why I should not have been raised in that environment. I still try to mother him and take care of him, but it's not healthy for me, and it's not healthy for my children to see that either. You know, there's a lot of like that survivor's guilt where like I made it and he didn't. So I didn't start college until I became pregnant at 24. There was just a large sense of responsibility for another human life, and I didn't want my child to go through what I went through. So I was really determined to do something with myself and make a good life for him. I answered an ad in the paper to work at a children's psychiatric hospital. I was working with children, you know, that were, I think 99% of them were in the system. And that kind of really solidified, like, this is what I want to do. I started going back to school then for my master's degree. After I got my master's degree, I became a caseworker. I feel like a large part of why I'm here today is because adults cared about me, and they were strangers. So regardless of whether they were group home workers or foster parents or teachers, you know, whoever, they were strangers. They had no obligations to me, but because they took a little bit of time and saw like a glimmer of something in me, they, watered that garden, and eventually it flourished. My oldest is 21 now. My youngest is going to be 15. Truly, it has been so gratifying to raise them, and just to know that they'll never know dysfunction, they'll never know chaos. But I tell them everything, like I'm super honest with them, because again, it's my life and it's not something that I'm ashamed of. And it's kind of a message for them that despite anything horrible that you might go through, you can make anything of yourself. I walked into my first foster home like not knowing, like, okay, you showed me where the bedroom is, but like, do I ask to get a drink of water, like, or do I just help myself? Tippy-toeing in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, like it's just so different. Just be mindful that this is not that child's house. Even though you as a foster parent have a lot of good intentions, you're not saving this child from anything, because a lot of times kids want to be back with what they came from. Even though it was chaotic, it's still what their norm is. So making them feel as comfortable as possible and being as flexible as possible, because they're going to push every button imaginable, but you can still have a big part in who they become as an adult, because whether they're with you for 6 weeks or 6 years, it can be a substantial time. So any time that you can spend bonding with that child, making that child feel nurtured and special, those little things can really go a long ways, because once I had that, I was able to hold on to it, and again, I feel like a lot of that is the reason that I'm here today.